Hello and welcome. I'm your mindset coach Dawood Waeed, and we are reviewing the Indigo Candle curriculum. So let's get started into what we believe is a wonderful skill program that you, as a teacher, as an educator, as a guardian parent, can really benefit by understanding the concepts, the logic behind these programs. All right, let me just make myself a little more visible. There I am. All right, so let's get started with a section on social skills, which is the letter G. The theme is social skill. The skill tag is creative thinking. And we're talking about a very important aspect called the teamwork. Now, before you introduce these activities that I'm going to explain to you, let's play a little bit on teamwork. There are these quotes that you can speak about teamwork works and why are teamwork so important. Be it playing cricket or football, or be it, in big organizations, Amazon, or it could be Google. The idea is you work as one team, you work as a united code, and this is very important. Unfortunately, our schools are making individualistic learners where you don't copy, you don't collaborate, your exams are all alone. Whereas the organizations and the institutes that we are expecting our children to go through want them to work in teams. Speak about a lot about, say, you can take a football, for example. And I personally have a lovely example around the Spanish football team, which played a group called Tiki Taka. Tiki Taka is a way of playing with short passes, and Spain did not have one huge player. It did not have a Messi or a Ronaldo, but yet with small, of course, there are legends in them, Xavis and Iniestas, and if you do not know, you can Google them. Spain by itself was a wonderful team because they believed and trusted one another. Another game in a physical class that we play in, which is very interesting, is somebody falls back, and as teachers, there's precaution. Make sure that you are there. Make sure children don't get hurt, and you put your hands like that, so everybody falls on your hand, and they say it's called a trust or the team factor. What can I do in terms of SDG goals? Well, as I said, workplace is where teams are required. You can also speak about health. So I can look at skill tag of goal number 8, which is decent work, or is also goal number 3, where good health. The idea is team makes the world go together. My first activity, 7.1, is about orchestra. Something we don't speak so much about it. I was in Oman, and the king of Oman, the monarch of Oman, is a big orchestra. There's a royal orchestra house, and I thought let's have an interesting activity around this particular theme. So there are three different players on orchestra. So Isaac plays drums, Shahid plays the violin, Reena plays the flute. Are they playing alone or are they playing together? If you're part of a school band, maybe just a singing band, maybe your voice comes in. What kind of name would you give to your band? Who do you think are the missing players? Did I just use the right instrument, or there could be something else? You can replace this entire orchestra activity with football or sports if you're not so much into a musical or rhythmic learner. What's your favorite theme, or what's your favorite club? And that could be an entire discussion that we go about. But this is very interesting in terms of G2. Look at the orchestra brand and then look at the position in a class. So you see there's cello, there's bass, there's tuba, there's flute, there's French horn, there's violin, there's harp, percussion. Some of the areas I don't even know. But interesting to know how the entire symphony is created. You can play a Beethoven or a Bach and make them understand, or Mozart for that matter, how is a rhythm created. The same way, perhaps from the cacophony of a road sound, if you can create a better sounding area. A lot of rhythm that you know about in scriptures, when you recite a particular song or a scripture, the rhythm is from the different sounds that you make from from the entire neck that you've got. This is nothing but teamwork internally. So you can sing in chorus. If it's an online class, why don't we have a blast singing in chorus, a song, something that you can recall from memory or talk about it. But that's what a teamwork will do. I hope my little snippets help you understand the idea behind each of these activities. This is for naturalist learner, life underwater, goal number 14, still on teamwork. We're looking at a toad in a pond. What's the difference between a frog and a toad? Or for that matter, what's the difference between a turtle and a tortoise? I think it'll be wonderful just to do these things. You can have teams do that and make a picture of a toad or a frog, a turtle or a tortoise, and understand. Or maybe you start an easy one between a rhino and a hippo. What are the similarities between a rhino and a hippo? By the way, so there's a huge frog who is all alone, and the ducks are waiting outside. And then there's too many ducks, so they gather courage and they decide to shoo the frog away. What does it mean? How do you predict the ducks will do next? Do you think the ducks were as a team more stronger? This is something that you've seen in nature. If you see a lot of zebras together, and this is an activity where the predator and the prey relationships comes into a picture. This is very simple. There is no singing song out there. But have you heard as a child, I grew up in the time in 1980s when we had just one channel called the Doordarshan in India or Roop Wahini in Sri Lanka. And we had this lovely, beautiful story of one sparrow. And perhaps that's why I've created my entire organization called the Golden Sparrow. But Ek Chidiya, Anek Chidiya. The story goes by the nature that the hunter puts a net and the sparrows or the birds are caught in it until one of them decides that let's all of us fly together, and with that force they could beat the gravity, the net, and all the forces, and they flew away. Or the story about the old man and the stick, and each stick got broken, but if you're together you can't break it. Unity, there's power in unity. United we stand, divided we fall. It's all a part of the teamwork, but in the nature also it is a big part of it. Here's an example. You see zebras, you always realize zebras, antelopes, bisons, a lot of these animals, the herbivores stay together. Why? Because actually their unity is a strength. Some of them can see a cheetah or a lion from far and they alert the others. Zebra, for that matter, because of the stripe, they're camouflaged. It's very difficult for a lion to predict which zebra is which and which is not, and they escape. Or the picture of this beautiful analogy, they will get caught at some point of the time because even lions have to feed the children, the cubs. But the bison, it was a case study where a buffalo or a bison, where the lion actually caught the little calf of the bison, and the bison comes back, and they have these huge horns. They don't realize how powerful they are, and they attack the lion together, and they save the cub, or rather the calf, from the lion's paws. So you can take a lot of examples from nature. This particular activity should be spoken about. Allow them to speak examples. Show them videos if you're online or even in a normal class. But create an environment where you show them there's power and unity. You can also take the flip side. What happens when people are divided? There's a story of three bulls, an Arab classic, where each bull, the three bulls were very strong until a lion goes and says, "Look, help me." So let's assume the bull is called the red bull, the white bull, and the black bull. And then the lion goes and says to the red bull that, no, not the red bull that you drink. And it says to the red bull, "Look, if you do not do anything and allow me to, hunt the white bull, if you and the black bull are just quiet, I'll let you all live in peace." They decide there's no harm and they don't do anything. They don't step to help their fellow bull, and the lion devours the white one. It goes to the red one, says the same thing about the black one. "You'll be the king, you'll all alone, all the pasture is yours." It does not do anything. And finally, when lion goes to the Red Bull says a beautiful quote that, "I died the day White Bull died." It's a very powerful analogy where if you don't stand up for your friend, your people, your tribe, at one point you will be left alone and nobody will come to help you out. A sad ending, but a very important one for teamwork. Finally, school needs playground. My third activity on teamwork is a very simple one. You are into the construction business and you need the right vehicles to help level the playground. There are a lot of vehicles out there. These are cat vehicles, as you call caterpillar ones. Find out what is a forklift, what's a crane, what's a bulldozer, what's a dumper. Find out the names of it and look at which one can carry which work. And this will be an entire activity on a playground level. You can perhaps make a sand play and make them do it. Take them to a construction site. I know you will not do it, but show pictures of a construction site. Allow them to use which vehicle they can. Or I trust me, if some of the kids have these vehicles, why not show these little tiny ones? I think Hot Wheels have a lovely collection of the vehicles. The idea is, as much as you're teaching your teamwork, you're also teaching them a new profession. How does construction happen? How do you dig? How much should you dig below to have a 20 floor tower? The idea is you teach them something about world in general as you teach these subjects. Great. Going to my H, the theme number H is core living value, and my theme today is freedom. Oh, how much we relish freedom, how much we enjoy, how much we, freedom is something we take for granted until it's taken away from you. And freedom is also something called coping with stress. How about talking about the main issue that's going on in today's time, the pandemic, work from home, WFH. How do you feel about it? Why not encourage children to speak about on behalf of their parents? How does your father feel? Maybe better commute. No commuting is better. Maybe your environment is definitely the biggest beneficiary of working from home is the environment. No noise pollution, no sound pollution, no fossil fuels, and the animals are thriving. But on the other hand, why do you think about animals which are always in the cage? Do you think a bird, even in a golden cage, will look happy? Now, how does it matter to a bird if the cage is golden or any other metal? And do you want to cage these birds? Why not let them free? There are pros and cons. How about sanctuaries? Maybe those are wonderful areas. I realize the birds, when they're left alone in the nature, maybe a predator might eat it. So you can have sanctuaries for them. But the cage bird is a wonderful story. How about introducing the beautiful book called When the Cage Birds Sing by Maya Angelou? It's an award-winning book, and a book that I think you should just do a review of it and speak to the kids about it. Well, freedom is something much more than that. How would you feel? Make a class debate, make a class discussion about the idea of what freedom is about. I know there's a bigger topic of zoos coming in, so touch on only the bird and the cages around and work from home in our H1 and H2. In H3, you can jump into the most important conversation around freedom, which is the zoos. Oh, by the way, on a side note here in zoo part is I will talk about it in the next one. But what about zoos? Have you visited a zoo? How about seeing an online zoo? In one of the best videos you can see is the Australian zoo. The late Steve Irwin's son takes you around. It's a beautiful zoo with rhinos and giraffes and tigers and pelicans and crocodiles. And it is something that you should be proud of. Animals look healthy, happy. How about those kind of zoos, which are more like sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries? Have you visited once in India? One of my goal as a family is to visit all the national parks in India. So I've gone to Kaziranga, Sundarban. I'm planning to go to Gir. I've gone to Goa, see the dolphins. Went to Andaman to do scuba diving, to Banerghatta, the one in Kerala. The idea is, and there's Jim Corbett one that's suspending. There's Ranthambore. The point is, can you locate all the national sanctuaries of your country? That'll be wonderful. And then you can speak about the animals left in the wild or at zoo. And definitely this is goal number 15 about life on land. What if you were to relocate all the animals from zoo to another place? Where would you go to? I've been told that Singapore Zoo is wonderful. So is the London Zoo. How about finding out the best zoo in the world and what happens around it? A quick idea on this picture. This is a bear. What kind of bear is this? How many bears do you know about? Do you know the grizzly bear, the sun bear, the Himalayan bear, the sloth bear, the panda, and the polar bear, the koala, by the way? How does a bear feel? What about animals in the circus? How do they feel? Or, when I was growing up, there were a lot of animals on the street, even bear, or the mongoose and the snake when they were bought by the snake charmers to fight around. How do you feel? What about the animal right activism about Jallikattu in Tamil Nadu, where the bulls are thrown? Is it traditional? Is it culture? Or is it not? It is against the value of animal right. What about the bullfighting in Spain? Or definitely the cockfighting that people do? How about the races that horses are bred through? Discuss about everything around nature, and I think your children will have a blast understanding what freedom means to them. Finally, we speak about, again, circus life in H5. It could be an extension of the previous activity, or you can take it up into a new theme or a new week. But how about animals in the circus? Have you seen lions and tigers and elephants in a circus? Well, I grew up in the time when they were there, but today they do not. Who's the environmental minister in India? Mrs. Maneka Gandhi was at the forefront of challenging these norms. I have been to a place called Havelock in Andaman and Nicobar Islands in India, where I've seen elephants pull up the logs. And then I wrote a letter, and the elephants were not made to do the work. How about these animals? How do you feel animals in circus can be replaced with? How about putting holograms of the animals instead of actual animals in the circus? And then we take a conversation to a little more serious final topic under freedom H6 is how about the slave system? What did the Britishers do when they came and colonialized the countries like India, Indonesia, or African countries, Congo, or South American countries, Brazil, when Spanish Inquisitor, came to conquer and take away the gold, spread the disease. The first rodents, rats were introduced in South America by these European colonialists. In India, disease came through them. So what about slave trade, slaves of Africa? Does slavery still exist? What is slavery to do with freedom of human rights? and you can speak a lot about it. How about the modern jail system? Do you have to have jails? One amazing thing that you should be, ending on a very positive note. And one of the countries that are very high on SDG index is Norway. Norway actually shut down 50% of the jails because there are no criminals to put inside a jail. What did Norway do amazingly? That is so amazing that we must replicate, and we can think about freedom from a lot of these angles. And this is a wonderful topic you can discuss and debate and discuss and more, suggest and reflect upon. Moving to public speaking, and this is the third theme I'm discussing in this particular series, I3. It's the rule of three and voice modulation. I hope my voice is modulated enough. I hope I can encourage you and excite you. But three is something very popular in the most way. It says to recall. So, what are the famous stories of three? You can start with any popular story. You can start the story of Three Musketeers, maybe it's more exciting, or Goldilocks and the Three Bears, the Three Little Pigs, were little easy stories, the Three Wise Men, and then you can start talking about these stories and why is the word three so popular in the stories analogy. Well, three is supposed to be the easiest prime number after one, of course, but three is a little complicated, not as simple as one, not even as two. Three as in the triangle, three as in the pyramids, three as in perhaps the Bloom's taxonomy, three as in the tripod. Three is a very popular number, and that is what we're talking about. So, how about recalling two famous stories? Go about, Google it, the Three Wise Men. What was the significance of three wise men, especially in the biblical times when they came in to give gifts? What kind of gifts did they bring? I think it was frankincense, myrrh, and some kind of perfume. Yes. Why was the gift so popular? How about gifting in today's time? What would you like to receive as a gift? Could be a side topic to discuss about. Or what about the three blind mice and the very popular story about it? I'm sure if you have forgotten about these stories, Google them. But a suggestion: how about making up your own story with the three blind mice? Do something about it. But that's the idea that three. When you say something in three, it's easier to remember. I came, I saw, I conquered. That's the recall factor that we're talking about. Because our topic also borders on voice modulation in I3, we speak about voices around. And this is a simple activity, and I know the kids may be a little older, but let's remove the shyness, because public speaking is all about making them confident, making them speak up. And I've given some lot of animal sounds out here. So the cows moo, the cocks, the rooster crows, the donkey bays, the coos of a raccoon, or owl, lion roars, frog croaks, anything. Make them do it, have fun around it, and there's actually a game you can play around this animal sound. What I usually do, if there's a physical class, and I keep making distinction between one class or the other, you can give all, say if there are 10 kids in the class, you can make, even it's an online class, you can do that secretly in a private chat, or individually tell them the names of the animal. So some of them could be birds, some of them could be herbivore, some of them could be carnivore. And they have to only make the noise of the particular animal, and the others have to find their tribe. Right? So the hyenas is laughing, ha, 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 and I'm doing that because I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the idea. So now the lion is roaring. Lion knows, okay, hyena is a carnivore. I'm going to find a hyena now. And the snake is hissing. What's a snake, by the way? I'm sure it's also a carnivore, so they are in the same team. But the cow and the beating of the sheep, or the neighing of the horse would be one. For the animals, you can have a lot of animals. You can have smaller one, the quacking, or you can say water animal, and the frog comes in there. But the idea is you can do a lot of fun with the animal sound. You can also, because public speaking, you should also give them the name of the animal. So tell them horse, and they have to speak for 30 seconds on a horse without pausing. Hyena, without pausing. Or hyenas, and let's start with hyena, maybe a strange looking animal. Hyenas are a strange animal. Hyenas hunt in pack, and that makes them stronger than some of the biggest animals, including the king of the jungle, lion. Have you seen the role of the hyenas, who always play the evil one in the movie The Lion King? But somehow we always think of an animal as good or bad. But hyenas in their pack are wonderful creatures. Yes, they laugh, which looks more artificial or strange. But hyena as an animal, though it's very dangerous and powerful, it is a wonderful animal, and we must preserve such species to live harmoniously in nature. And I just made it up, but the idea is create some opportunities for children to speak out. Final one on I4, the Third one is parts of speech. We have John F. Kennedy speaking, but a good speech has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's something we know, but that's a rule of three, right? So why don't we decode John F. Kennedy's famous speech, the decision to go to moon? And in that speech, I've given the entire speech for you to read. We chose to go to the moon. We chose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they were easy, but because they're hard, and that goal serves to organize, measure the best of our energy and skills, and zen. Ask the child to read it, and what you would like to do. Would like to indent it, because this is one speech without a lot of full stops into it. But still, what is the beginning of it? What's the middle and what's the end? And one of the activities that I always wondered children should be excited about is give a new name to this particular one. It could be moonwalk, it could be look at the moon, it could be something interesting, something funny. But who is John F. Kennedy? One of the most popular presidents of the United States. Apart from Barack Obama or Abraham Lincoln, people know him as the man who sent Neil Armstrong on moon in Apollo 13. It's a great experience. By the way, it is all about public speaking, how you indulge and inculcate your audience. So on that note, we'll take up the rest of it a little later, but I'll quickly end up. This is what moon speech is all about. This is Neil Armstrong with the flag on the crater, the surface of the moon. And here are some questions for you to decode. What makes his speech so memorable? I already asked about John F. Kennedy. Did he realize the moon dream? And what's the next dream? Maybe it's Elon Musk staying on Mars. The idea that we're talking about is how do you take this activity and make it very interesting for your children? Make sure the candle's purpose is solved when you talk to them, when you enjoy, when you tell them what all these activities are actually implemented in real life. Good luck. Have a good day.